I remember looking up ultramarathons, and I just saw all of these runners at the top of this giant mountain, and I'd never seen anything like that before.
I can imagine there was probably some runners this week out there in the middle of the night in the woods like, what am I doing?
You just want to go back home, but you can't because you just have to finish the loop. UTMB is 170K, 10,000 meters of elevation gain.
As a content team, we really are having to endure similar conditions as the athletes.
Covering trail running, it's super hard. You're not on a field covering a game. You out there in the mountains.
Sub-zero temperatures with snow hitting us sideways.
Mud all over, so windy.
Hiking up a giant mountain, pouring rain at night.
Then you climb and there is no place to hide.
There are a lot of people in the industry who do doubt that women can do this.
But here we are, so.
I got involved with Salomon a few years back. Oliver found me through Instagram and was wanting to get more women into the space, which was, really unique. It was last year when you looked at the finish line of UTMB, it was all men and maybe 1 to 2 women. It was at that moment that he realized we need to bring an all-women's team to UTMB and really show up. I spent months and months and months looking for who would be the perfect fit for this team. But the pool of women who had experience shooting ultra trail running was so small. So we have people that came in here who are the best of the best in trail running, but then we also have people that came in here who had never done trail running.
When you're shooting?
Yeah. Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Football and soccer are a lot different than ultra trail running. I literally never heard of Chamonix, France in my entire life. Looked it up, what is UTMB? And it's saying this is the Super Bowl of ultra trail running. I was like, okay, bet, we're going to Chamonix, France.
I wanted to be a police officer. I was at the Olympics in Paris, and I've seen the video makers. It's like 99% of them is men. This is how I ended up with the filmmaking, because I was like, I can climb fucking hills.
I've been a soccer player my whole life, and I just picked up my dad's video camera that I used to film my games with. Now it's my entire career. I didn't know what type of craziness we were gonna get into this week. I knew I'd be doing some running, trail running, ultra running. Type 2 fun, honestly, in my opinion. Like, shout out to them.
I come from a family that I always heard that I have to secure life with like a real job. But at 12, when my mom gave me her first big camera, it clicked. Photography and trail running are both my passion.
I started with Salomon in 2016 as an athlete in South Africa. I always felt this need to really capture the places I was running in. I also see it as an opportunity to get some training in, which seems ridiculous to some, I would think.
This week I was here to take all the content and do all the posting on social media. You want to tell the story of all parts of the race. I just thought, well, obviously, like, women can do everything, so it doesn't really make that much difference.
There was an 8-hour time difference between where I was in the United States and where the rest of the team was in France. The footage essentially got to go back in time to me to make these edits while they were sleeping so that the team in France could wake up to them.
This week is really one of the biggest weeks in trail running, if not the biggest. Salomon is obviously, one of the biggest brands in this sport. And when you're working with a brand who really sets the standard, the only option is to deliver. The production of a week like this is very intense. There's a lot that goes on. Our team was covering not only the race, but also doing athlete interviews, portraits, pre-race kit stuff. And not only is it the main UTMB race, but there's a collection of races that lead up to that. And so it's not just we start a race and it finishes. Those races overlap, and so it can get pretty complex to figure out how your team is going to follow everyone.
I think what makes Salomon super different to other brands is how much we do. We tried on this project at least to just be like at as many spots as possible and to turn things around as quickly as possible. But the focus is still on quality. Like we want to stand out creatively as much as we want to stand out in terms of being the brand that's most in your feed.
Can we talk about live expectations versus recap expectations? Like, are we expecting the team to deliver live assets?
Yeah, as possible. Like I know tomorrow's going to be tricky with the weather. When you're back in the cars, to be able to edit the 10-15 second rushes of colour grading and sound and then some images, but enough that we can do a post or something.
Fastest
Our process is really like edit live, send it, get it up, move on to next spot.
One of the biggest things is the logistics of these races.
When you have like more than 2-3 athletes to cover, then it's a logistical nightmare.
We needed to be dialed in order to capture over 20 athletes. That is what separates you the most from other brands and photographers and crews.
It is an advantage to be at ease in the mountains.
Yeah, and then from there to Col de Baume, it is
Margot,
an hour.
you can cover the whole course.
To there by like 12, which is.
But I can show you how to do this.
We sleep in the car. Like it's like kind of you don't sleep.
Yeah. Car 1 and car 3 will swap the armbands.
We have no idea what's gonna unfold. Like
No.
that's
Yeah, and also
But
it's
this is like
ultra
our
running, so
base plan. Things will change.
yeah.
It's natural. If it all goes to plan,
Just
great.
say, like,
But it won't.
We had come up with a plan to essentially follow specific athletes through each point of the race. We were split into 3 different cars with 1 person on the motion team and 1 person on the photo team in each. Our car is essentially racing them around the mountain as they're crossing over the mountain, and we are trying to beat them to whether it's the trail or the aid station.
She's won every single UTMB she's done.
When it comes to the physical aspect of shooting a trail running race in the mountain, you have to be fit.
You know you're about to be hiking up these giant mountains to catch these athletes and sprinting after them to get dope shots. When it comes to actually having camera rigs, they're heavy, and if you're on the move, you need to keep extra things with you, and so that adds weight as well.
I think a lot of times when people look at women videographers specifically, they judge us based on our outward appearance. And here I am, a 5'3" Latina. People would look at me a lot and say so many things like, you should be in front of the camera, or that camera's probably really too heavy for you. I don't think she can keep up with the athlete. Are you sure you want to do this? It took us an hour and 45 minutes to be able to make it to the top of the mountain with our camera gear on our backs.
You don't have those points accessible by car. Packing is very hard. Everybody knows that in terms of food, I'm very equipped.
First and foremost, what's wrong with you?
We're gonna be hiking a lot, and I need supplements. I decided to basically go with the 2 Blackmagic setups. It's a lot of extra weight, so I was carrying a bag of 15 kilos. Even if it's heavy, I'm gonna rather go this way, because I know that in my eyes, the result is very beautiful. I love to run with them. If I lift weights, run on the treadmill, cycle, use a Stairmaster with the sandbags, then if I actually carry the cameras, then you don't feel it anymore. So the more you're lifting, the more you can actually be flexible on the hills. When I was running with Naomi, and she was that was crazy. She was flying out of that hill. It can be very powerful.
I'm actually coming into UTMB week with an injury. I injured my back. I'm actually only cleared to be walking, but this project was so important to me that I knew that I would do whatever it took to make it happen. My PT is going to be so disappointed in me.
You try to sleep where you can. This is maybe an hour or 2. Your alarm goes off. You pick up your camera. You have to get out there again. This I really love.
down. We're coming. Keep fighting, keep running, no stopping. I will rise up, keep moving. I'm still standing, ain't backing down. I ain't backing down. No, I ain't backing down. I ain't backing down. No, I ain't backing down.
Holy shit.
It's online. Let me see it. They did such a great job. Wow.
Yeah, she's so good.
Crazy to did this without being here.
I would describe my editing style as quick, punchy, flashy, exciting. Football is my world. I just love the energy around it. And I just wanted to translate that and make these edits really cool.
Du départ à l'arrivée, que votre rêve devienne réalité.
Run like fast to go in front of him and catch him, and he would say like, "Hey!"
One of the cooler parts about my day is that my laptop is maxing on space. Sick. So it keeps being like close and things. And I'm like, fuck.
I'm gonna finish the stories, and then we have to finish.
Throughout this week, I was really on a lot of the logistics and planning and just keeping up to date with like changing plans, where people needed to be, when we needed to pivot. It can get pretty complex to take into consideration road closures, hiking time, car issues. We had planned to stay in Chamonix, but in order to get to the start line, you have to cross through the tunnel to Cortney. So a tunnel that can take 30 minutes, during UTMB week, that can take 3 hours. For our team, when we realized we wanted to start with the athletes before 7 a.m., the night before, I was on Airbnb just scrolling and looking for like the last possible place we could find in Cortney. Going earlier put us closer to the athletes, but further from our team, and comms were already a challenge.
If it's sunny and clear sky, you can get 5G at the top and upload, and it's great. If it's raining, you will get nothing from La Folie to the top of Grand Col Ferret and back.
And it was maybe 10 p.m. when we decided to pivot, and we packed our bags and got in the car.
I woke up in France. We had lunch in Italy. Then we went to bed in France. Now we're going to bed in Switzerland. Then we're gonna eat dinner in France, and then we're gonna
go back to Italy.
Go back to Italy.
It is pouring rain outside, just like torrential downpour.
It's just a little drizzle. Pillow's wet, blanket's wet, bag is wet. The cameras are dry.
Made the quick drive through the tunnel, the 30-minute drive, and we're able to wake up in Cortney to get with our athletes, where other people waited for hours in the morning and some people didn't even make it. All of this week, it just took a lot of last-minute decision-making, and you have to make sure or hope that you're making the right decisions. I don't even know if people are consciously choosing men for these projects. You know, maybe there's a bias that people don't even realize. They assume that, you know, we can't do what they can in terms of just decision-making.
I've lost a lot of work to men. It's not a great feeling.
I'll have days where I'm like, is what I'm making like even good? I've had my fair share of moments where I'm like, thought about, honestly, like walking away.
I always had this impression, that I had to prove some stuff to my male colleagues and just to the trail running media in general, having to prove that I am able to go in the mountain at 3 a.m. alone if I had to, always having crazy negotiation to have good points in the mountain and not just aid station in the valleys and stuff like this. It doesn't have anything to do with you being a girl or being nice or pretty or I don't know what, that you are where you are. Just take action super fast.
When things popped up, we calmly problem solved. We didn't need direction, we just knew what to do and we did it.
really bring me through the day.
Okay, at La Folie, we wait for all the athletes. And we have 8 athletes we're following tomorrow.
How many athletes in UTMB?
5.
Okay.
They will come through there at 8:30. So 5:45, 6:45, and it's a small hike. And so at that point, there's probably like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 spots we can hit. I just think it'd be a cool one to go to.
Always down.
So, but it's at 2 a.m. And then our driver said that she definitely will need to sleep at some point.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. We probably should, but no. And at that point, when we get there, that's when we swap and we only follow the lead woman, which is probably Cortney. The whole team was like going all in different directions, getting to spots to hike the mountain to be able to catch them on the trail.
Now we're going to Col de Ban and we're gonna wait for them up there. It's a pass, but it's a pretty high point of the course. The main thing is to like edit super fast and send everything super fast because Salomon needs to do like a live coverage. When you start to go like high in the mountains, the connection is hard, but everyone is like trying their best, and so we'll see.
Funny thing about that mountain, I was chasing these athletes, actually lost my phone on the mountain as well. So had to kind of like pivot really fast, and honestly was trying to get the content out as quick as I could, but we were working on each other's hotspots. So I was actually airdropping to my teammates who were then trying to upload their content and my content all on this Google Drive. And we were just kind of waiting a long time for that content to upload because the weather was absolutely unpredictable.
It's the first meal, like real meal, I think, till 3 or 4 days. And then the race course changed because the weather was too bad.
Margot got a little bit serious with me for a second and was like, I am nervous and we need to make it to our next destination on time. Do you think that we can run down this hill?
You work really hard to make a plan, but then you also have to change the plan like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times during the race.
And in my head, I was like all packed up and I'm like, okay, we can just leisurely walk down. So when a French woman looks at me serious and says, can you run down this mountain with me? I said, yeah, we're gonna find out.
Seeing everyone doing their thing, getting the content in, being in the car, trying to edit it, like in the rain, in a small village, in a coffee shop. There was more than we could even possibly share in the time.
You uploading?
Yeah. We weren't short on content, put it that way.
Finishing upload, let's go.
We got to the car. We had a moment where we were like, wow, we are right on time.
How come there was a course adjustment?
Because it's too dangerous.
With the weather?
With the weather.
Jesus. It's kind of a big one too.
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Okay, well, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna get out, film something, then I need to change my camera system so I can buy it, but like some lights might be going on and off. And
For me? I don't
I
care.
just feel like I'm being...
No, this is why we're here. That's crazy. No, you think I'm gonna fall? I couldn't fall asleep that whole drive. You think I'm gonna fall asleep for 5 minutes right now? I'm just existing.
It's cold out there?
Yeah, I think it's freezing probably.
The problem started when it became like a snowstorm. We had a segment to climb it in the night. The weather was shit. And then you climb and there is no place to hide.
It is 5 a.m. and I'm nearly at the top of Grand Col Ferret, despite the fog and the now snow.
Standing on Grand Col Ferret with snow hitting my face. And it's not like I was underdressed. I had 2 pairs of pants on, 2 pairs of gloves on, 3 jackets. There was a lot on me and it was freezing cold.
I was trying to set up my camera and my fingers were not working anymore because I was so cold.
But then you realize there are these athletes going through the night. And they have done, I think it's about 100K to get there. They have endured this for so long. I remember very clearly watching Lucy come up Grand Col Ferret early in the morning. She was going up and she just kept saying, I'm so cold, I'm so cold, I'm so cold. Was always so tough because you're so invested in what they are going through. My experience of running my own ultras, like I know how much pain and suffering she was in. I think it also made me realize like how long and hard something like this is, and to be there and see that, you really feel it for them. But it's kind of this catch-22 because you kind of being invasive and shoving a camera in front of their face, and there's this feeling of like, oh, I'm getting you in your darkest moment, and this feels too personal and too invasive.
I think it's super humble to race these races and to suffer in front of so many people and being photographed in these moments.
My style of photography is really focused on the emotions that go into sport, and that's why I do this. I am passionate about documenting what is going on inside an athlete's mind from an outside perspective, like tight portraits of what's happening in these moments of joy or suffering. The most important thing to me is that the athlete comes first. I do not care if I can get a better picture if it means sacrificing something or making the athlete uncomfortable.
I just need to leave in 10 minutes.
I am going to work as fast as possible, and I'm going to be very aware of how the athlete's feeling. Going into a moment with Cortney, even from day one, I feel like I was very, very intentional on how I work with her.
I know all these pre-things are not ideal.
I was like, Kevin, we haven't like sat down one time yet to like realize we're actually racing.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, hey, give me 3 minutes. We'll get this done. How you feeling? All right, we're done.
Okay, so let's just have you kind of like moving around the table, looking at your stuff, organizing. Can you pick up your bib once more? And then we'll do a top down. And we will do a few more things and be close.
They are just trying to do what they do best, and having 20 cameras in your face is not comfortable.
If you don't want to have to put socks and start doing your shoes, we can totally just skip that one.
Yeah, I want to skip it.
Okay, then I'll just do another portrait. Yep, 100%. Yeah, you can't be putting those on today.
I think it's really special to have an intimate relationship where you are invited into these spaces.
We're on Activate.
Oh yeah, we have 9 minutes to spare.
Getting to know her and understanding how she operates, that is so important in this sport, because I am paying attention and I am, reading the situation. I feel like we've gained a mutual respect for working together.
Well, I'll be really happy to see all of your faces out there. Post-race beers.
For real.
I try to be respectful while still doing my job.
This year, UTMB's race for the women was really crazy. The top 4, top 5 being like not even 30 minutes apart was like, it's historical.
I'm just gonna stay next to you so you don't have me in the I might be pivoting and shooting directly from in the street instead of standing up there.
And I'll bring both cameras up. And I'll lock off this camera. Yeah. I'll come out and follow you from here, sprinting it.
I'm gonna get them like where she is right now. I'm getting this little like flower foreground situation. Okay. And some tights, and she gets there. I'm gonna toss it down. Okay. And then I'm gonna be like, okay. Okay.
How are we feeling?
I'm feeling excited, but I'm literally so nervous every time someone comes.
Everything can happen. People DNF, people go faster as they plan or slower as they plan.
You have to be prepared for, anything. We were communicating with the cars throughout the whole thing to pivot plans and switch spots when needed.
There's some cool stuff that happens there.
Where?
Cormier.
Is that the one with the big inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a gym.
It's where Cortney was brushing her teeth.
Yeah.
And like that went viral. And
with the timer ticking.
yeah, it's like all that sort of stuff like happens there. So it's always worth doing.
Like the race starts there.
I'm constantly checking the live tracker to see where athletes are at. But you know, we have instances where it's not right. For example, we were waiting in Cormier.
Maybe some chips? It is 4 a.m. Breakfast.
And the tracker was saying Lucy was 30 minutes out still.
And then third car coming down from the mountain.
And we're standing there, you know, like just waiting, we're talking.
All right, sounds good. Cortney White's the
So how long till Lucy?
30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we see Lucy running into the aid station, and we are in a frantic sprint to be able to run in there and be able to catch all the moments that we were looking for.
Yes. The timer was off. Holy shit. Where is she?
When I was editing the pre-race interviews, I remember an athlete mentioning some advice they had gotten from Lucy.
Running is obviously a lot of physical, but also a lot of mental. What kind of gets you through in those tough moments when you're in a race and you're, really starting to hurt?
Lucy always says, you decided to be here, and I think she's right.
I just remember thinking, this girl Lucy is a beast. And so it was honestly no surprise when I got the footage and saw her crashing through Cormier.
Running is an uncomfortable sport and you are the machine, so it's so much on your body and your brain. When it's that grinding kind of moment in a race, I think a lot about kind of like zooming out and realizing that at the end of the day, this is running. We're just enjoying what the world has to offer, curiosity and exploration. When you think of it like that, it has changed my perception of the sport.
Running is so beautiful. Mother Nature is your route.
We walked through the pass, and slowly we could see like the other side of Mont Blanc showing up as we walked through. I felt super proud to show my mountains to everyone.
The best part about shooting these ultras is hands down just spending time in the outdoors.
That's so cute.
I draw inspiration from the mountains, the glaciers, the rain.
I actually really love this shit. Wow. Me time in the mountains, in the dark. There's so much peace in the solitude. And that is why I love this sport and I love what I do.
You can compose runners with such a beautiful environment. It's emotional, like you hear the sounds, you look at the textures, you see the body movement and you see the beauty of those monumental horizons and mountains, and it's just fucking epic in that moment.
I feel like such a connection to the land out here and to the different mountains that you traverse and the countries you enter and just some places that you don't get to go to otherwise.
You usually also go in these places where crew aren't. You're covering their races, but you're also a support for them. I have so many athletes that told me that it was so good to see us up there, and because they were suffering, familiar faces feel so good when you're such in pain.
Having a front row seat to these athletes and these intimate moments is really incredible, and that to me is why I do this. I'm just out there I'm their biggest fan. I'm just more excited to cheer for them than take the photos.
Yeah, Dan! Yoo! Nice job, Christian.
And sometimes to a fault, I'm like, oh, where's my camera? I'm like, shit. I'm over there clapping. But when you see these people coming into the aid station and you're just you just endured the most crazy situation ever. I don't even care who you are. Go you, you're freaking crushing it.
It was really fun to receive new content and just see the different things that these athletes were accomplishing and their thoughts on how to get through such an intense race.
I feel like being incredibly close to these athletes and seeing them right there push through reminds you that you can overcome your own battles too. Come down the hill and we go around the corner and we get to this tunnel. And it's really secluded so that no fans can get back there. It is just me and Cortney White. This is like the biggest ultra race in the world. And she is the best to ever do it. And I'm just 1 foot from her. And I'm just like seeing what she's seeing. And if you're watching the live stream, you can see me running behind Cortney. And I would bet you that I would have been smiling while I was running. We're running through this tunnel and I'm like, this is so special to me. I just love what I do. Getting to these points where you feel like you want to quit something, like right when you feel like you're about to quit and you don't, that's when you go here, you know, and you do your best stuff or you like sprint to the finish.
One of my purposes of filming is to capture the beauty and the resiliency of the human spirit. You could see it on that finish line from the fans that are supporting and cheering on these athletes that they've probably never talked to or have never met, you know? And just the sheer will and determination of these people who have walked and run in the pouring rain at night and then making it finally to their families that were waiting to embrace them at the finish line. That's the type of shots and moments that I live to capture.
The more that I run, the more that I learn that it's not really about running at all.
It's gonna be highs and they're super high, it's gonna be lows and they're gonna feel so, so low. But at the end of the day, like as long as you're chasing what sets your heart on fire and surrounding yourself with people who believe in you and love you no matter what, it's gonna be a good time.
Sport has probably changed me in a lot of ways that I don't even know yet, but for sure it has given me so many special memories that I will hold on to for my entire life.
I honestly didn't know anything about UTMB in 2018, and it was hard to follow, and you didn't really see that much stuff online. And now looking this many years later to see when I mentioned UTMB in a group chat, they're like, man, that's so cool, that's so great you're going. And I think all of that is credit to the storytelling that's happened over the last, especially 3 or 4 years.
Being able to share these images has brought light to the sport of running, and I'm very lucky to be able to do that.
People who never knew about UTMB or trail running can learn about it because they're seeing not just the sport, but like they're getting these intimate stories of the athletes and who they are as people, and they're inspired by them and they want to be like them.
Y mi ilusión para correr en montaña es simplemente estar en el monte.
That's what the sport is about, is sharing people's stories and giving them a platform to be who they want to be and inspire other people. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you finish, it matters who you are.
I'm surrounded by so many creative people, so many amazing, talented, creative men, and I want to be surrounded by just as many talented women. And I really think that all of those people have brought a voice to running.
I would like that everything stopped being judged through the filter of gender and just we are all human doing our best.
I've captured every sport. I've never seen anything like this. Hundreds and hundreds of runners that are about to go like embark on this incredible physical feat, and you look up and there's like all these people out their windows with waving their flags. It was a moment that was so much bigger than trail running and ultra running. It was like the most beautiful human moment.
We all come from so many different areas and stuff. This is what I liked with all of us. When you see like all the work we produced, it's so different, but it's just so cohesive. And I loved seeing everyone bring their vision into trail running. So at the end, if we don't try to work with other people and bring new vision into it, we just end up always doing the same.
I think we did fucking great. We did a great job. The outcome I was seeing, like, it was crazy. You know, it's so visible. It's like the content, sometimes when I look at these things and I see, it's like, that was a woman who made this.
I want to take a moment to thank everyone for getting involved this week. This is something we've never done before, and it's been different to any year we've done UTMB as a brand. And see you out there working as a team, you've exceeded way more than expectations. I've had so many positive comments on the content coming through, people loving seeing it from Salomon and really enjoying it. and you've proved a lot of people wrong. Can women really do this? Are you sure they can get to the top of this mountain? Are you sure they can carry camera gear, get the shots and run with the athletes? But I think when you look at the content that's gone out this week, you don't even need to answer that because the content does that for you.
Here I am, a 5'3" Latina, proud to be an honorary mountain woman with these badasses.
I've never felt like I need to be like, oh, I'm a girl boss. I'm just a boss.
I enjoyed it. I got my double session in for the day.
I had never felt like it could be possible to be a career. When I was younger, I do not have one single woman photographer that I was looking for in sports. So it was cool to imagine that maybe some girls would see this and it will inspire them.
I hope that a few years down the road we can look at the finish line of UTMB and it's full of women. You know, it's balanced. There's men and women of all ages, all colors, all sizes. It doesn't matter to me. They're all just sick people doing sick stuff.
It will be mission success when these documentaries don't need to exist at all.
I was searching for some direction.